Welcome to the Align and Abide podcast with Dr. Kim Tran, where we help you achieve your greatest God-given potential. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hey, it's Dr. Kim Tran. I host the Align and Abide podcast, where we explore ways to elevate your life through holistic health, wellness, personal development, and entrepreneurship. Together, we'll uncover how you can invest in your greatest asset, your health, and achieve your God-given potential. Past guests have included 3,000 Acts of Kindness, Foster One, and OsteoStrong. This episode is brought to you by Minnesota Family Chiropractic, a Christian chiropractic and integrative health clinic founded and led by Dr. Kim Tran, dedicated to helping patients find lasting relief and vibrant health through chiropractic care, nutrition, functional medicine, and inner healing prayer. Minnesota Family Chiropractic is on a mission to transform lives physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Our team of doctors focuses on whole person care to address the root causes and not just the symptoms, so you can get back to living fully. Ready to start your path towards better health? Visit drkimtran.com or call 612-545-5672 to schedule your consultation and experience integrative patient-centered care. Before introducing today's guest, I want to give a big thank you to Homespun Events, founded and led by Ben Cooney and Jill Hayes. Had I not actually started sponsoring art fairs, I would never have met our wonderful guest today, Michelle Hamilton, founder of Dandelion Naturals, which I think the first time, Michelle, when I was like, ooh, we need a partner, and she saw me running up to her booth, I think the look on your face was like, okay, well, one, who are you and why? And should I know you at this point?
Yes, I remember that. That's awesome. I think it was at Minnehaha Falls Art Fair.
Yeah. So because we were at Minneapolis Sculpture Garden, and then I was like at Minnehaha Falls too. And so we were just at Minneapolis Sculpture Art Fair this weekend. So it's like, yeah, it's lovely to see it come full circle.
Oh, I love it. I love that story.
I know. Her look was like, well, who is this person? Do I want to know her?
Well, here's the thing. I meet so many people, so many folks. I'm terrible with names, and I'm like trying to recall your face. Do I know her? Turns out I didn't, but I do now, and I'm so grateful.
Yeah. Well, and then I was mentioning, I actually sponsor a lot of the art fairs, and people, they're like, most of my patients are like, when they first found out that I was sponsoring art fairs, they're like, oh, is it because you actually are presenting art? And I was like, well, the art of the body, okay? And they're like, that's so interesting that you're doing it. But I mean, I love supporting local artists like you who are making things and supporting our local community too.
Thank you. That means a lot. It's art fairs are a wonderful way for us to get out and meet people and show people what we do. So we're grateful for your support.
Yeah. So you've got a couple of big places that people can find you. Well, one, we were just talking about this before we started, that I actually found your product while I was showing one of my friends who is out of town, and she's a travel nurse. And so she'd been stationed here for a while, got into an auto accident, ended in my clinic. And so I was like, well, why didn't I show you downtown Stillwater? So we're walking around, we get into the mercantile shop, and I was like, I'm like smelling stuff, and I was like, ooh, this smells so good. So we walk to the back of the shop, and I'm picking up, I was like, Tabitha, you gotta smell this. It's like your grapefruit sea salt soap. And yes. I was like, oh, this is amazing. And I was like, let me flip around. I was like, oh, it's local. And then I saw that, and I was like, well, this is great, because I always tell patients, hey, like, you need to pick non-toxic alternatives. And people want to know, okay, is that really going to clean? And I was like, well, whatever it is. So we picked up like the grapefruit sea salt soap. And at the time, we also, many of my patients know this, we had the rosemary mint shampoo. And at the time, I'd been losing some hair from COVID, because I was like, okay, not that I had COVID, but it was like the stress of COVID. So I was like, okay, rosemary mint, check. Okay. So I picked up the shampoo, conditioner, the Farmer's Balm, the lip balm that you have. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I started using that and I was like, oh, this stuff is great. I'm like, how can I get more? And that's what led me to your website, right? Dandelionnaturals.com. And then of course, when I was like, oh, wait, I like looked at the vendor list. I was like, she's here and this is how I ran you down.
That's the first time I've heard this backstory. I love it.
I know. It's fun. Like, so I was like, great, you know, because at the time I'd already been ordering some stuff. And I was like, this has to be local. I'm like, where can I get this from? And so it was so nice to actually meet you in person. Now, what most people don't know is not that you are like, it's not like you grow up as a baby and said, you know what, I'm going to make soap, right?
Exactly. Yes. And I still don't have a good story for why I make soap. I mean, or why soap is where it started. So yes, no, that makes sense.
Well, and I think a little bit of your backstory. So you actually were a nurse before all this.
Yes.
So
I still am a nurse. I still keep my license, just not currently practicing. So.
Yeah. So what was a really big motivation for you to switch from being a nurse to saying, all right, I'm going to dive in to non-toxic cleaning products and healthcare products?
Yeah. You know, it's a multifaceted story. I think it goes back to 2014. We bought an acreage just north of Hayfield where we currently live. We own like a little 10-acre hobby farm. And I just learned about nature and all the things that I could get into for hobbies. And I also started seeing a holistic chiropractor at that time. So that's where it all started. And I did like sourdough and kombucha and grow my own medicinal herbs, all of those things. And I just saw there's like a disconnection between conventional medicine and holistic care. And I feel like there's so much more that we can do with holistic care to help get to the root cause of things. So my little piece of that pie is providing products that you put on your body. You know, our skin's our largest organ. So it really does make a big difference what we put on our skin. So that's my story in a nutshell.
Well, and most men and women don't understand is that all of those products that we're using are actually disrupting your hormones. They can contribute to disease, inflammation in the body, that they're also causing early onset Alzheimer's and dementia. Yes. And you don't, and what I love is that, you know, being local, you haven't sold out to big business because most things now, even if you look at Burt's Bees or some of the other natural care products, they all sold out to the big manufacturers that also provide pharmaceutical drugs.
Yes. And I'm very aware of that. And that is something that we want to stay small. I don't know if you hear that from people often, but as we continue to grow, you know, we get offers or we get met with different things that might help our business continue to grow, but it's maybe not necessarily in the direction that we want to go, which probably sounds crazy in the world of finance and making money and the hustle. But we're all about community, staying small. Quality is really important to us. So we want to be making the product. Always. We're never going to give that up. So it's really important to us.
And you can actually check her out on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and you guys actually show videos of you actually making it. So you're like, okay, is this a legit person? Yes. And maybe know when to mix lye and water. But if you want to know that one, you can go search out the TikTok video for Dandelion Naturals. Okay.
Yes, there's a video. I had an emergency eye visit. We'll just leave it at that. It was actually washing soda, but we went into the dangers of lye. Lye is a very dangerous component, but it makes beautiful soap. It's safe to use once it goes through its chemical process. There's none left over, but you have to be very careful with it. So.
Absolutely. And coming up, we're going to be going into more of how can you become a kingdom business owner? What are things that you need to look for in your products as well? And if you want more information, go to drkimtran.com. That's drkimtran.com. Hey, it's Dr. Kim Tran, and I'm back with Michelle Hamilton, founder of Dandelion Naturals, which, you know, the great thing is, even if you're like smelling all these things and you're like, okay, doc, where can I go? She's coming up at some local art fairs coming up, which I'm going to allow her to give it that list. But if you missed our Minneapolis Sculptor Art Fair, don't worry. You can find her at dandelionnaturals.com. And I know you had also last summer were so motivated to also open up a storefront. Can you give a little inspiration as to why you decided to open up a storefront in the age of like online everything?
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure that out, to be honest, because we purchased a commercial building. It was kind of an opportunity that fell in our lap. We weren't looking. There's this beautiful building on Main Street in our tiny little town of Hayfield. It's about 1,300 people. So we bought the building. It'll be almost 2 summers ago. For production purposes. And we get asked all the time at markets, do you guys have a storefront? And we thought, well, we could now. So we decided to add a little retail space in our building. It's about 500 to 600 square feet. And we love it. We're only open 3 days a week. We're open Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. And we get traffic from all over. That's the bonus of social media. We get the word out that way. So our store encompasses all of our products, and we also source products that are all natural we try to focus on other Minnesota businesses. So it's an array of all natural goods for home, body, and gifting. Mm-hmm. And it's been great. We didn't have any expectations going into it, but it's definitely been worth our time. And it really means a lot to us because of our community. It's bringing our community together. We're able to educate people that come in our doors that are maybe just learning about low-tox living. So there's a lot of great stuff that's come out of it that I didn't really see coming. So
yeah, no, and I think it's just so great to invest into our small towns. I think growing up in a small town community, everyone thinks we need to go to the city if we want more opportunities, but realize you can make your own opportunity no matter where you're at.
Yes. And we had, people that were kind of skeptical, like, and we still have customers that'll come in and like, how's it going? Are people shopping here? Like, yeah, actually, it's been great. People are very interested in this stuff. And we've had like last week, people that drove down from the Twin Cities and left a wonderful Google review, said it was totally worth the drive. And I'm just blown away by that. That'll never get old to me. And it motivates me to continue doing what I'm doing because it matters. So.
Oh, it does. And I think a lot of that is the more that people learn, and I educate a lot of our listeners and patients on, okay, what do you need to avoid with toxins? And most people don't realize, like, even if you look at your regular soap that you grew up with, all of that stuff now has so many chemicals in it. There's artificial colors, there's problems that are happening that are not even just affecting your abilities to, if you start developing cancer or other diseases or inflammation in your body, but it's also affecting like the development of your kids.
Yep. Yes. And that's where fragrance oils are a big thing for us. In the beginning, I had to decide, are we going to use fragrance oils with essential oils, or are we going to just stick to essential oils? That was a really hard decision. And we decided to only stick with essential oils. And I'm really glad that I did that because it has made a difference in the customers that seek our products out. And they trust our brand because of that. And they know anything that I source in the store has been vetted by me. I do all the research. We did a funny video yesterday of me because I get asked, have you tried this? And while I do all the research for the products, I can't possibly use or try all of them. But the fragrance oil was a big piece for us in the beginning. And I know I have a 6-year-old daughter, and I know how that can affect her hormones. And the thing is, a lot of these fragrance oils, they say they're paraben-free, phthalate-free, which is awesome. Like, I'm glad they're moving in that direction. But what other components are in there that we're not aware of that may be harming our health? And I think that's what made me make that decision, is just too much unknown. So,
well, and a lot of that, and I talk about this with my patients too, and listeners, is that fragrance in itself can be over 40,000 different chemicals.
Yes.
Yeah. So just because it's FDA approved does not mean anything, considering the number one person that was leading the FDA actually was one of the top CEOs of a not only pharmaceutical company, vaccine manufacturer.
Yes.
And I saw kids this weekend, and I had a little kid that came up, and which is not uncommon. Like, we have kids that come up all the time that want to touch things or just want to see what the spine is. And this little boy comes up, and I could tell I'm like, this is very strange. Well, one, he's eating Cheez-Its, which is just full of chemicals.
Yep.
And so I bent forward just to try to talk with him. And shortly thereafter, the kid almost tries to hit me. He pushes his hand in front of my face and like rolls his head. And he's like, my brother hates me. And his brother's standing there, his dad's standing there. And I thought, oh my goodness, this child's nervous system is off the wall. And I said, how is your son, what, 6? And he's like, oh, he's 7. And I said, this is not normal behavior. And on top of that, this is what I want you to really understand about chemicals, is that the child's sitting there trying to pull out his hair, and he's hitting himself. Not even just like talking about hitting somebody else. He has a lot of aggressive tendencies. And I turned around and I looked at the father, and I said, you have to get your child off technology. I didn't even get into the food part because that was obviously another part of that. But I said, how much technology do they get? And the little kid is like, well, my brother gets more than me because he gets to do his homework at school and I don't get to. So then I get less iPad time than him. And I'm like, you cannot babysit your child with iPads. But then I also was mentioning to him, I was like, we need to get your child under care. Like, his nervous system is off the wall. And what I want people to understand is like the chemicals that you give into your children, that is causing so many of these attention problems. It's causing a lot of their diseases because their bodies can't handle it. They have no way to detox it out. And that goes for parents as well. One of my favorite soaps that you have, speaking of children, because as many of you know, I just have my doggies. See, very cute. So the one thing, like dog stuff in itself, there's so many toxins in it. I'm like, what do we need fragrance for?
Yes.
So actually, my other little dog, Angel, I was bathing her with the soap that I got from you, which is like the cedarwood dog soap.
Yes, I brought that in here, you guys.
Yes.
I was like, show you how cute it is. It's got this little paw. You see it?
Yeah, I love it.
And it smells fantastic. That's awesome.
Yeah, and they last for a long time because, so here's the difference with like the soap that you buy in the store versus the soap that you get here. They're like made hard.
Yes.
So, and would you explain that process a little bit for somebody who doesn't know the difference?
Yeah, of course. So we have to use water or some type of liquid in the soap to make it a soap. Batter is what I call it when we pour it. And then it'll harden over 24 hours. But what happens is that water, that liquid substance needs to evaporate out of the bar. And to do that properly, you need the bars to sit on a curing rack for at least 4 weeks. And we do that. Sometimes we're right on the edge. It's really hard to plan for inventory when it has to sit that long. Mm-hmm. But it helps the bar last a long time. And our customers do say that, your bars last forever. Mm-hmm. So that might be something, if you're buying something commercially, it may not have sat that long because it gets soft and squishy, and it just, people will say it melts away really fast. So that cure time is really important.
Yeah. And I bring that up because most of the time, like, people will look at a price of something and be like, well, why is this more expensive but when you actually have something sit that is actually cured for a long time, that means that the bar of soap is going to last for months.
Yeah. Right? And the quality of the ingredients in that bar are going to be a lot more expensive than something that you might be buying off of the shelf at Dollar General, we'll say. Because they remove, for example, when you were talking about this a little bit ago, the chemicals, they also strip away important components of a bar of soap. So like glycerin in conventional soap is sold off as a byproduct. Glycerin is beautiful for the skin. It's awesome. So we leave that naturally occurring product in our bar that's very beneficial for your skin. So
well, and would you go over a few of the other ingredients because a lot of times people don't know what to look for as ingredients in their soap?
Yeah, of course. So, like we were talking about before, the fragrance, a lot of it'll be listed as fragrance. You want something that's a natural fragrance, which would be essential oils or
Hmm.
absolutes. It's going to be hard to find an absolute in a bar soap. They're really expensive, but
Hmm.
that's important. Or just getting something that's not scented. There's no added scent to it, especially if you have really sensitive skin, that would be a good bar. We use high quality fats. We don't use any seed oils. Those can be inflammatory for the
Hmm.
body and the skin. So we use things like coconut oil, shea butter. We love beef tallow, olive oil, avocado oil, and castor oil are the main fats that we use. And colorants, I think you touched base on this too, can
Hmm.
be irritating to the skin.
Hmm.
So artificial colorants, we don't use any of those in our soaps. We like to use clays, natural clays from the
Hmm.
earth, and herbs. We'll grind up herbs and use those for color, and then they add benefit to the soap as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. So coming up, we're going to be talking more about other things that you should look out for when you're looking for natural care products. But if you are looking for something to support a local business, you can go to dandelionnaturals.com or go and visit them this weekend right in Hayfields. And if you're looking for any other information regarding your health, go to drkimtran.com. Hey, it's Dr. Kim Tran, and I'm back with Michelle Hamilton of Dandelion Naturals. So there's a couple ways that they can come and see you, right? So they can go to dandelionnaturals.com, or they can go
yes,
to your storefront Thursday through Saturday in
yes.
Hayfield, which is great. So if you want to smell everything, or can you list off some of the art fairs that you're coming up into next?
Yeah, so this year we're cutting back a bit on
Mm-hmm.
shows. We hit it real hard our first year. I think we're in our fourth season now. So our next one is going to be Minnehaha Falls Art Fair in
Mm-hmm.
July. It's one of my very favorite shows. There's such good energy there. I love it. So that'll be in July. And then August, if you want to come down, we're doing Dandy Days at our store.
Ooh.
We've got a lot that we own next to our building, and we've got 25 vendors set up this year, and some food trucks. And yeah, it's going to be a good time. So that's on August 21st and August 22nd, Friday, Saturday. And I think that's it until the holidays.
That's amazing though, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. I know. So now I'm an event planner. So I just keep
Ooh.
adding all these things to my hats.
And thank goodness you have such a loving husband. That shows
Amen to
up,
that.
right?
He would not be here. Dandelion Naturals wouldn't be here without him. So
Mhm. Like, and when
yeah.
you talk about that it's a family business, when I tell you her husband has shown up, her daughter's been at the art fair with her, it is a family thing. So it's not when you're actually supporting her business, you're actually supporting their family, you're supporting their community, which is a
Yes,
huge
100%.
thing. Yeah. That's like,
Yeah, Friday. Yeah, I think Saturday night we got home. We had a restock for Sunday. It was a long restock. We sold out of a lot of our products, and my husband was right there with me restocking. I think we got home at 11 p.m. Saturday
mm,
night, and then because it's about an hour, we're about an hour and a half from the Twin Cities. Drove up Sunday, did it all over again, and my cup is full after those art fairs. It's just great energy. So
yeah,
yeah.
no, it's so fun. Actually, so I think when we had first started and I said, okay, I'm going to give you a bulk order. And I'm sure she was probably like, okay, like how big of a bulk order was this? And of course, like we get these soaps that pile in. And the funny part was, so one of my patients was there over the weekend, Heidi, and she was like, I hadn't mentioned to her that you were there. And she was like, walking around the art fair. And she's like, yeah, I walked around and I started smelling something. And I was like, she was like, gosh, it smells really familiar because I
Yeah.
sell products for Dandelion Naturals, not only in my office, but I've actually, as part of our anniversary thing last year, I've given away to all of my patients, like a bar of soap plus like their relief balm. Like I gave everyone
Wow.
away, and not including at the radio station. I actually dropped off packages for every single person at the radio station.
Thank you so much. That means so much to us. Awesome.
Yeah. And then to the law firms that we work out with too. So my team, this is Joanna, my office manager, loved this part because I was like, hey, do you mind? So she got to drop off all of our gift bag packages of soap and the relief balm to every single employee of every law firm that we interact with, even if I didn't know any of the, like all of them.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And it was like the best thing that she had. So when our
Oh,
patient came up and she's like, huh, because you're like getting a whiff. Now, mind you, it's all these
yeah.
essential oils that then you're like, and she was like, Doc, I thought I smelled something familiar. And then I looked up and she's like, oh, this is from Dr. Kim.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah, we have some free advertising this weekend with the win for sure. At the show.
See, the
We
windy
heard that
days
all
are
day.
good.
Yeah.
The windy days are good. Well, and we were just talking about, the main reason why I love her products too is one, they're low tox. And, when you're including in ingredients that actually make your skin feel good, like the
Yeah.
shea butter, the clay. I mean, this is why I love the grapefruit sea salt soap because it has cannelin clay in, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. You're like,
Yep.
how much does she have memorized now? I just use it that much. So there's so many like benefits to that, plus having essential oils in. So then I know it's good for me. It's good for my patients. Actually, the rosemary mint soap, I wish I would have taken a picture of like what my hair looked like before I started using it.
Yes.
And I turned
Yes.
so many other people onto it because rosemary for a while there, if you were on TikTok or Instagram and everyone was like, okay, let me make a rosemary spray. I'm like, or just put it in your,
Yeah. Or just put the oil on your scalp
yeah,
with a carrier oil. Yeah. Simple.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
so easy. What is like some of the biggest milestones that you've been really proud of as you've started from like 2014 to now?
It's a lot. One of my goals this year was just to stop when big things happen, to just stop and pause and take it in, let it kind of marinate and then move on. Because the last 4 years have just been one thing after another in a good way, but a
Mhm.
lot of learning, a lot of character building, learning behind the business, like how to run a business. I was a nurse manager for most of my career, and I think a lot of those skills have transferred over into this new career. But a lot of milestones, big and small. We started in our kitchen. Like my first bar of soap I made was in my kitchen, and now I'm in this commercial building. Like if you would have shown me like, hey, this is what your life is going to be like in 4 years, I would not have believed you at all. So, and I'm a Christian and I really believe that this is where we're supposed to be. And God has led us here. So we really want to steward those gifts well and make good use of what we've been given. So
Mhm.
it's hard for me to tell you specific milestones, but there's been a lot along the way that I'm super grateful for. A lot of awesome relationships that have come out of this, like
Mhm.
yourself. I mean, it's just really incredible the people that we've met. So,
Yeah. How do you feel like God really played a part in your business?
so part of my story, I was a nurse for 21 years, almost 22 years. During COVID, I had to make a decision regarding the vaccine. And it's gotten a lot easier for me to talk about this, but it was so controversial. And I think for me, it was a very personal decision, and
Mhm.
it was something that I just didn't want to do. So unfortunately, I lost my job at the time
Mhm.
because I didn't want to have the vaccine. So I was let go in January of 2022, and I had a lot of peace that day, that final day. I actually recorded myself and I said, God, whatever is next, like I'm leaving it with you. It's in your control. And that was quite a feeling, and I'll never forget it. And I really didn't know what was next. I was just trusting him, and boy, has he surprised me. It hasn't been easy. I think people have this idea that making soap and running this business is like this idyllic lifestyle. And yeah, there's definitely moments that I'm grateful, very grateful for, but there's hard days, but
Mhm.
he sustains us through it.
Absolutely. Well, and I think
Yeah.
that's a part of it, like as God builds your business, right? We go through
Hmm.
these tests and trials. And I think that
Yep.
is what most people don't realize is that some days it might be hard, but if you have your faith in, it's a lot
Hmm.
easier.
Absolutely. I always say, because it's hope. It gives us hope, right, for what's next and what's to come. And I just can't imagine living my life without that hope because, our world is a little dark lately, and
Hmm.
we lean on that hope a lot. So it's
Hmm.
important.
Yeah. And I think that
Yeah.
for me was such a big thing. It's like I recognized that you had that faith built in. And I was like, okay, kingdom business check. Let me support this
Yes.
because I
Love
want
that.
to fuel into other kingdom businesses as well because it's so
Yeah.
important. Like it's so important because we were talking about it last show with Pastor Jumi and her daughter that you have to really watch who is behind the products that you are
Hmm.
even purchasing because you're coming in agreement with something that may not be of God. And you have to
Hmm.
be very cautious of that. And, this is why I just love that. I'm like, okay, I know not only are you just filled with so much joy, like even
Oh.
at a show, I mean, and mind you, when I tell you shows can be hard. We were talking about it last year. Sometimes you're going to be like, okay, God, when your tent blows away and all your tables like fall because the wind, you're like, okay, let me pick it back up and do it again.
And then you're all by yourself and you're just like, okay, what's next? Like, I think I have this. I think, God, I need your help.
and
Yeah.
mind you, this was a real thing. You were at a show last year when the wind took off your tent. And if you don't realize how much weight we actually have to put on these tents, people have no
Hmm.
idea how much time and effort it takes for even an artist or a sponsor to even show up because we have to set up usually the day before, regardless, rain, shine, wind. The wind is probably, I don't know, wind or rain, one of the two that are the highest ones.
I can handle the straight rain. This is, it just comes down. You can drop the sides, wait it out. But the wind and the rain, no, that's not a good combo.
You're like getting all the soap, but the wind really worked
Yeah,
for you this last weekend.
it sure did. It was nice. We had a wonderful time at
Yeah.
the art fair. Yeah.
Yeah. And coming up, I just wanted to share this like little story that she probably doesn't even think it's that big of a story, but man, I will tell you, this really shows your heart, Michelle.
Oh.
Truly shows your heart because I just saw this weekend and she probably still doesn't think it's that big.
Oh.
But now, for those of you that are looking out, Michelle, where can they go to find your products?
So we've got our website, dandelionnaturals.com, and that's the best way to get us if you're not able to come visit us in our store. However, our store is located in Hayfield, Minnesota. We're right on Main Street. You cannot miss us. We're open Thursdays and Fridays, 10 to 5, and on Saturdays, 10 to 3. And
Perfect.
we're very active on social media, and we've started to make some really funny, relatable videos. So I hope you enjoy watching those.
Hey, it's Dr. Kim Tran, and I'm back with Michelle Hamilton of Dandelion Naturals. And I mean, if you are looking for their signature logo, this is actually one of the products that we provide for all of our patients. Between this and the Breathe Again, which is like their other cream, especially during like the allergy season, like wintertime, we have so many of our patients that put that on or use it, especially with their asthma or other issues that they've been having. Now, when I talk about Michelle's heart, this is why I just love her as a person. I love her as a business owner, as a friend. And she's probably like, oh, great. No, no. But this weekend, while we're at the Minneapolis Sculpture Art Fair, I went up to go see her and her husband. While we were just chit-chatting, obviously some people are coming up, and there's this woman that came up, and older woman that came up, and she comes up from the back and she's like, oh my gosh, did anybody drop off a bag? My husband set it down. We can't find it. And, I just heard you just turn around. She's like, all right, what was in it? She's like, well, a couple laundry soaps and a couple bars of soap. And she's like, okay, no problem. She's like, what were they? She's like, oh, the lavender and eucalyptus, I believe. And she was like, oh, well, I don't have any more of that, but I can give you two of the other ones. And so this woman just stood there stunned because she would never have believed that somebody would go out of the way to go ahead and provide her with two other bags of laundry soap and two other bars of soap after her husband just accidentally just left it somewhere.
Yeah.
And just to watch that as your heart, I mean, I feel like that is so telling, right, for what you do for your community, what you're doing just in what you do with your product, right?
Yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing that. I had forgotten all about that. Yeah. It was a busy day, so it's special to remember that. Yeah, I just, you just got to meet people where they are
Mm-hmm.
and just trust them, and I don't know, just give back. We try to give back as much as we can.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember her saying, "Well, I can't pay for it." And I was like, "No, no, no. I just want to replace it because it'll come back. It's fine. Like whether somebody else got the product or they find the product, whatever. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay." I'm just glad she came up to us and asked.
No, that's what I figured. I was like, well, you may not remember this.
That was right I think towards the end of the show.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
very busy there at the end. Yeah. So
Oh gosh. But I mean, I think that really speaks so much to your heart. And actually, I think about that as a kingdom business too, is that sometimes we give because we
mhm.
know, God's still going to provide for us regardless.
Yep.
To give out that little bit of soap, to give out those things. I know that that woman will never forget
Yeah.
that
It's
you're
really
like,
special to hear.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's never going to forget that somebody else would have been like, well, no, you're just going to have to buy it again. Instead of just
Yeah.
trusting and saying, okay, not a problem. Let me make sure to get you taken
Yeah.
care of.
Yeah. I'm just glad that she came up to us and asked, because why not? And you just trust people and meet them where they
Mm-hmm.
are. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we've been taken advantage of, I'm sure. But I always say, and I've been at art fairs and I've needed to go use the restroom and nobody was available. I just walk away and people ask me, they're like, "Aren't you worried about things getting stolen?" I was like, "Well, I'm sure people have probably have stolen, but that's kind of on their heart. That's
Mm-hmm.
not on me. You got to trust people. So I don't want to be taken advantage of, but it's just part of owning a business. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yep.
Now, what would you tell other people who want to grow their faith?
Grow their faith. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, as a business owner, I mean, yes, definitely comes with its tests and trials. And you probably had
Yeah.
plenty of opportunities to walk away at any time, right?
Yeah. In our day and age, I feel like with technology being as accessible as it is, I mean, you can access the Bible anywhere. Thankfully, like that's something I'm super thankful for in our country. We have the freedom to exercise that. I love the Bible app. I think it's called the Bible app, that little brown icon on your, I'm looking.
Yes.
Yeah, Holy Bible. It's wonderful. Get it on your phone and you can plug into that, and there's plans on there, and it'll help you keep track on those plans. There's reading plans, there's ways of praying on there. And get involved in a small group of like-minded folks that you can meet up with and help you keep on track. My husband and I do that. We meet with a small group of adults in our community every other week. We go over a book of the Bible and we just get together and discuss it for like 45 minutes. And it just keeps us in community with other people. So
Mm-hmm.
start with that. I think that's super important. And then find a church community.
Mm-hmm. Would you
Yeah.
also say, and how long have you and your husband been married now?
We got married in 2001. So this
Woo!
year's our 25-year anniversary.
That
It's
is
exciting.
amazing.
We've been through a lot of trials, and honestly, without our faith, there's a few trials I don't know if we would have got through, but we've grown together. We met when I was 16, and he was in his senior year of high school. So yeah, we were meant to be together. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
Now, what would you tell and give advice to the couples who are struggling right now? Because it was talking about a lot of marriages are under attack. How do you both stay grounded?
Yeah. There's a lot of self-centeredness, the idol of self, I think, that's eating away at our culture. So just trying to remove that part of the equation and looking at the other person and what are their needs and what is my role in this marriage. And communication is so important. Being open about what's bothering you and talking through it without judgment or yeah, it's hard, but communication is super, super important. And seeking out other couples that have been through it and maybe finding another couple to help mentor you through the fires and the trials, and just having faith and trust in God that he does have a plan for you and it is good, and just going through it instead of giving up.
Yeah. It's easy to walk away in this society, right? But
it's very easy.
But it's not going to make you happy, by the way.
No, you're so right. And I think a lot of people are searching for that. There's pain that comes with that, but on the other side, there's so much fruit that comes with that, going through all of those trials, and growing your faith together is a beautiful thing. It really is.
Yeah. And you're really setting that up with your daughter too, because you also have her in a Christian school too.
Yes, we do. It's super important to us to have that Christian curriculum. And we're just really grateful to have a really small school just down the road from us. And it only goes through third grade. So she's got a couple years left there. And we need to start figuring out what's next for her. So,
yeah, but that's amazing when you can put your family and marriage with God at your center, right?
Yes. Well, it literally to us is everything. So it's super important.
Now, for you, who've been some of like your inspirational like mentors or other people that you've connected with during this time that you've grown your business or with your marriage?
Well, I don't know why. I just immediately thought of Dave Ramsey.
Yes, we know Dave Ramsey.
That like goes back way back. But he set a foundation for us financially, which is a huge part of your marriage, and being secure and on the same page with that. Had we not had that, I don't know that Dandelion Naturals would be here and as successful as it is, because that was a huge foundation for us. So yeah, I can go all the way back to Dave. So the Every Dollar app, I still use it. It's wonderful. So if you've never accessed that, that's a tool that I use in my business and in our personal life that I really think is important. Boy, I've met a lot of business owners through this, and super helpful. Just reaching out. I can't name anybody specifically off the top of my head, but just having those people to reach out to know like, hey, they're going through the same thing. We're not alone. Like, how do you deal with this thing? When you have a small team and you're the owner, there's nobody to talk to about business things on a day-to-day
without
basis.
Overwhelming your team.
Yeah. And I got to be very mindful of that, because they're here to do a specific thing and they don't need to know there's a lot going on behind the scenes, So
absolutely.
just talk. And I get that from art fairs. Like, I touched base with a lot of my friends this weekend, like, hey, checking in with each other. How's it going? What are you struggling with? So yeah, it's super helpful.
Yeah, it's good to have other people to lean on. So if you've been looking to just change over to a low-tox lifestyle, you can actually go to dandelionnaturals.com. You could actually go to Minnehaha Falls Art Fair coming up, or Dandy Days in August. Yes. And if you've been looking to transform your life and health, reach out to Dr. Kim Tran at drkimtran.com. That's drkimtran.com.
Thanks for listening to the Align and Abide podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.